It's very fitting that Points of Light chose San Antonio because in very many ways, San Antonio represents the America of tomorrow.
Tonight's dinner focuses a little bit upon the Latino population of our country and the challenges and opportunities that we have for the American dream. It is an amazing honor to have Points of Light in San Antonio.
Well, just being here, it's amazing. I'm being able to meet Gloria Estefan and her husband, and I'm going to be able to sing the national anthem. For me, it's a great honor to be able to sing.
This is such an incredibly powerful assembly of people who have spent their entire lives trying to make the United States of America a better place. And for all of us here in San Antonio, we're honored by this assembly, and I thank you myself.
Just last night at supper, we talked with my 11-year-old son about the significance of the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington. And that day wasn't just a speech in a moment in time, but what's the relevance to his life today, that his grandparents were alive at that time and the struggles that they had. And so why is it important not to take things like education for granted?
My parents were immigrants to this country, and one of the first values they taught me was that the only thing in the world that no one can ever take away from you is your education. And so I think that's one of the most important things that we as a community, we as a society can do, is send that message to the younger generation.
Target is really proud to partner with the Points of Light and the San Antonio community to have a civil discourse about issues that are important to this country, education, and how education creates economic opportunity.
My counselor in high school told me, Gabby, you just have to face the reality that you're not going to be able to go to college.
There is a great wrong in this country that is known to everyone in this room, and it's the denial of opportunity to the dreamers.
And I remember looking at the class schedule and putting my hand over it and making a promise to it, and saying that I had been given an opportunity to go to college and that I was going to fight for other people to do so the same, because education, as we all know, is something so important in our society.
Henry, Gaby, and I, and others are setting out to create something we all know needs to be created. We want to open the doors of college to dreamer students.
So when I started school here in first grade, I didn't speak any English. I had a wonderful first grade teacher, Mrs. Dorothy Collins, and I have given many an interview where I talk about Mrs. Collins, and I love the fact that 6 months after I started school, I took the reading award because Mrs. Collins was such an amazing teacher.
Well, it was a magical evening, and the magic is in the people who attended. You know, it's a magnificent group here in San Antonio of deeply, deeply concerned people needing to talk about their lives and their children and the things that matter most to them. So it was a simply wonderful thing for Points of Light to do.
I've been in a lot of different conferences and a lot of different workshops, but this really hits close to home here in San Antonio. The makeup of our table, there are community representatives, people that are in business, and all advocates of public education, indeed education of all kinds. I can tell you that this is something that's very unique. We're so thankful for Points of Light and Target for putting something like this. This is a very unique event, and I would like to see this replicated elsewhere.
So this has been such an incredible gathering of people in San Antonio who care about education and who are determined to do something about it. This is the last of our big national gatherings. By the time we're finished tonight, about 100,000 people will have gathered in events like this, but also in their neighborhoods, in their homes. They will have invited their friends, their families to come together and talk about community issues.
Tonight's dinner, I think, was a great success because it really says that as a people we can come together, we can have the kinds of conversations that we need to have. A night to look next door to your neighbor and to your fellow man and say that in the spirit of this great country, we are going to have each other's back.